Kim Keefe with Kim Keefe's Team Open Doors, powered by Compass. And I am at one more episode of Kim's Corner with Mitch Schmer. Hello, Mitch.
Hi, Kim.
Mitch is joining us from Old Towne Estate and Antique Sales. That's kind of a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
You must do a lot.
What we do is a lot. What we do is a lot. And
I've seen it. So let's just dive in and tell us what you do that makes you so special and got you a place on Kim's Corner.
Well, I like to represent our clients well in the market that we're in right now. A lot of people are moving out of state and or transitioning to an assisted living facility or perhaps a memory care facility. And what do they do with everything? What we do is we help them liquidate their assets so that they can move on to the next chapter, whether it's assisted living, a retirement community, or somewhere nice down in Florida. We research, stage, merchandise, advertise, conduct the sale. Post-sale, we set them up with a clean-out, consignment, donation, garbage pickup or dump. And then to take them across the finish line with you, the realtor, we can do a house clean so that they have a smooth walkthrough and closing. That's in short what we do.
I think I listen to my podcast at 1.25 speed. I think if you're listening to this, you're going to go back and then slow it down because there was a whole lot of goodness going on there.
There is, but, time is money. The clients typically, in a lot of cases, are on limited income. They're retired, right? So we want to get in and execute as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. If that means research, stage, merchandise, advertise, and conduct the sale, I don't look at this as the client gives us an open checkbook. We want to get in there and we want to get this executed. We want to get that sale completed and we want that closing to happen as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. So it is a lot. There's a lot of moving components.
There's a lot of moving. And so the one of the estate sales that we did together was, like I did any work.
You sold the home.
I called Mitch. I did the hard part. I sold the home. You helped clean it out. But we had a major house project with not only a 2,800 square foot house that was full, but it had a 6,000 square foot outbuilding.
Yeah, that was a big project.
It was a big one. And if you were to think back in time with the amount of things, very diverse items too, by the way. There was, like industrial manufacturing and farm elements, and then the home elements that was more set up for like a vacation retreat home for the family. All of these different aspects. So do you have team members that focus or are better at some of these areas than others?
All right, good question. So what's important is that the client do their homework. Do you want a handyman or do you want a trained professional? So I happen to have with me, appraisal resource guide.
Wow.
Okay. I have like 5 books like this. Okay. A lot of what we do is training. Okay. So it's up to the client to determine, does the provider have the proper training? Did they own an antique store 30 years ago and now they're doing estate sales? Or have they been trained by the American Society of Estate Sale Liquidators or the International Society of Appraisers? This year, unfortunately, through the state that we live in, they're mandating that, or they're trying to mandate that we get, and I'm looking into this right now, to be an auctioneer.
Oh.
So when you're an appraiser through the ISA, you're regulated through who you're regulated with, the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to figure this all out, but in short, the client should be asking the provider or the liquidator, what is your skill set? What is your background? How long have you been doing this? Do you have a good contract? Reviews? Insurance and bonding and workman's comp and employment insurance should be hands down paramount.
Right.
Why? Because if one of my staff gets injured on your project or the client's project, they're not going to be sued. They're covered under my workman's comp and employment through ADP.
Sure. And then, heaven forbid, somebody then comes to visit the property during the sale and gets injured. I'm imagining that's on the homeowner.
That's on the homeowner's policy, right? Mm-hmm. So the homeowner, as long as their insurance is in place and they do their due diligence and find a provider that has insurance, bonding, workman's comp, unemployment, they should be a real company registered with the state.
Sure.
Is what they should be.
Sure.
You get what you pay for,
sure.
Unfortunately.
You get what you pay for. Key words right there. in real estate and in home estate sales.
Right.
I think I have certainly had plenty of experiences with several different types of estate sales. And I know that sometimes I walk into a home, and from the standpoint of a client, we might say, look around this place, I don't think we have enough for an estate sale. Is there a general guideline for when's a good time to call you, to evaluate if there's enough, or, other options?
Whenever the client is ready to make that next move, all right, they have to transition for medical reasons, or they're just retiring and moving out of state. At that point, start scheduling complimentary consultations. But beforehand, know what you want to liquidate or sell, and know what you want to keep for yourself, for your family and friends. That way, when we come in to do the complimentary consultation, it paints a good picture for us. We know this is not for sale. This is for sale. Okay, now you have enough for a sale. Or you know what? You don't have enough for a sale. So let's just do the clean out with consignment, donation, garbage pickup, or the landfill.
Great.
Okay, so in some cases, we just did a sale in Elgin. We grossed something like 26,000 in gross sales. That's going to ideally cover the cost of the whole project and give the client a nice check.
Nice.
In other cases, it could be a hoarder situation, and there's no money there, or very little, but the money's in the home. So you need to do the clean out so that they can sell the home. So then they have the old adage, it takes money to make money.
Right.
So we just determine if they have enough to do a sale, we do the sale. If not, why waste their finances to stage a sale that's not going to be profitable?
Right.
So then you just try and donate, consign what you can, and then the rest, landfill, garbage pickup, house clean, you're ready for a smooth close.
Right. I love it. Great options. So what about the DIYers, right? The people who say, I can do this myself. Do you have advice or just general guidelines for options like Facebook Marketplace, or I don't know what else you would even do outside of you? I just call you.
So the idea is, when having a sale, you want to make as much as possible for the estate, whether it's somebody on a family member or friend on a limited income, whatever the case may be. You want to make money for the estate. In some cases, we had a consult this morning, hoarder situation, and he's taking things and putting it into the trunk to try and make money on later.
Oh.
Why do that, right? And if you do that, then it's less in the sale. Right. So then you don't have a good advertised sale. So in his case, it's a hoarder situation. He just he claims he's retired. He's going to do it himself, or he'll try and do a lot of it himself. And it would take him a year. What we can do in a week to 2 weeks,
if he'll even do it. Right? Because if he's attached to these
on one
things.
hand, he wants to save money and do it himself. On the other hand, he's saying, well, it's $2,000 a month to run the house. Well, if we come in and do this, we'll have this whole project completed in 2 or 3 weeks. If you do it at $2,000 a month, what is that in 5 months? $10,000 or so?
Right.
So, you have to do your due diligence.
Right. I love it. Well, and again, part of that goes to, very similar to real estate, just the counseling that you're having to provide for clients or for their family members about, the nuts and bolts. Is it a good idea, or is it not a good idea? And can you let go of these things?
Here's the takeaway from this. It's not really a business venture. You're moving. You're just trying to mitigate expenses. If you look at what a mover does, they pack, wrap, load, and go. Mm-hmm. Right? They go to point B, which is the destination, and perhaps storage. We're unpacking, unwrapping every room in the house, every drawer, every closet, basement, attic, crawl space. We're doing 4 times to 6 times the amount of work that a mover's doing for a lot less money.
Right.
Okay, a moving cost could cost as little as $8,000 to $30,000 and everywhere in between. But by liquidating those assets, you're saving time and efforts. But it takes money to make money. We have to get in there. We have to research. We have to stay. People sometimes think that the fees are high. They're really not. When you look at what moving costs are compared to what we do, we're unpacking, unwrapping, staging, merchandising, having the sale, and then packing and wrapping for a clean out at a far less expense than it would be to have a mover do it. And they can't do what we do because they won't go to consignment. They won't go to donation. You'll have to call 3 different companies to represent you. The good thing about what we do is it's full service. So we do everything. It's umbrella under me. I control it, and I protect the client's best interest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't refer it out to another company that doesn't have workman's comp unemployment, let's say for the clean out, and then somebody gets injured, and in the end the client still gets sued.
Right, right. Well, I will tell you, and for everybody listening or watching right now, it's common that I will go to a client's home thinking about selling, and they will, when we get to the basement or the attic or the garage or sometimes various rooms in the main level of the home, that they will say, yes, I moved these boxes from the last house. Oh, and maybe the house before that. And they're still there in the closet or in a room or just taking up space, mental and physical sometimes, and they've never touched these boxes. So, it's for real. And so my advice is, well, do you need them now? Should we unpack them now and make another decision about whether they go back in the box and come with, or do they get released?
The client should always go through their family's possessions, right? There could be a diamond ring somewhere. One of my assistants found $3,500 in an orthodontist, his wife's walk-in closet. And we walked up to her and said, what would you like us to do with this? Well, obviously she thanked us, right? But, we find things that they don't even know they had. We did an estate sale about a year and a half ago in Covered Bridge. He didn't want to put firearms in the sale, but we found a Walther PPKS under the mattress, the James Bond gun. So I said, hey, Jeff, would you like us to sell the gun for you? He goes, where was it? It was under your mattress. No, I want it. And we gave it to him. Right? It's his gun. So, it's always good for the client or the family to try and go through everything. But know that if you have a trusted liquidator or estate sale provider, just like your trusted realtor, we're going to look out for your best interest when we do come upon something. In the case of my company, if we find a diamond ring, we're not going to just put it in the sale and expect a commission. We're going to say, look, we found this ring. Would you like it in the sale, or do you want to keep it as a memory?
Sure.
That type of thing. So these are the things, some of the nuances that we do.
Very, very respectful. You took the shebang out of one of my questions, which was, what are the crazy things you found? So we found a gun. We found cash.
Oh my God, prosthetics I found from like the 30s, shot machines for medical doctors, maybe back in the 20s.
Oh my goodness.
You'd be surprised.
I probably wouldn't, but maybe I would.
You'd be surprised what people keep in their homes.
So if you can dream it up, you can guess that he's probably seen it in a home.
We've seen a lot.
Too funny. So Mitch, can you help me out a little bit with the valuation of items you come across? And I know you're using appraisal standards, which I love. I had no idea about that. But when it comes to like rule of thumb, if you are pricing a chair, this adorable chair, and I'm guessing you have to go more than just what I paid for it, and more than what the book says. But
you may have underpaid, and that is great for you. You may have overpaid. So yes, you can't go by that. What we're looking for: who's the artist? Who's the designer? Is this a baker? Mm-hmm. Is it Ethan Allen? And then what are they bringing at auction or sale? Like the realtor, right? You check the MLS for like square footage, like amenities, right? You come up with comparables. We're doing the same thing on your contents. We're looking for completed sales, whether it be auction, retail, or what have you, on those particular items. Where the realtor or the appraiser for the bank is looking for comparables on the home itself. We're doing the same thing, just on the contents rather than the home.
Awesome. And is it comfortable? Is it warm?
This is very comfortable.
These are model IKEA.
Nice.
Too funny. Now, when it comes to pricing, also I have noticed a trend that day one, day two, prices are XYZ, but on the last day of the sale, is it kind of an unwritten rule that the price just goes in half on the last day?
It depends on the item. If I have something that's going to bring in $12,000 post-sale, I'm not going to sell it for $2,000. I'm commission-based. As a realtor, I think you're commission-based. So the more we make, the more we sell, the higher the dollar, the more we make.
Okay.
So, typically the way it works is, so let's say this is a $900 chair. Okay, our valuation of it, so it's going to be $900. And then on the second day, if it's a 2-day sale, it may be 25% off. And then on the third day, it may be 50% off. But if I could send something to consignment and make more than if I discounted 50%, I have to look out for the client's best interest and send it to consignment.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example of some consignment stores. There's a couple of locals that I love. There's a Costas in Lake Zurich. They're amazing, 45 to 50,000 square feet.
Wow.
They have an elevator. They sell new, pre-owned, beautiful store. They're one of my premier. You don't know a Costas?
I apparently should know about that.
22 and Rand in Lake Zurich.
Okay.
They have a Wheaton location as well. And then right here in Algonquin, your best friend's home, your best friend's closet. One side is women's apparel, which you probably are aware of. Smiling. And the other side is home furnishings. So they're another premier consignment store. They're on Square Barn and 62 in Algonquin. Those are my two faves, and there are others. So also depending upon where the project is located, then we'll use consignment stores closer to those areas as well.
Sure. That's wonderful. And again, it's all about, for me, keeping things out of landfills. And
you want to be respectful of the client's possessions. Absolutely. That's the last resort, always.
Yeah. Wonderful. So one last thing with relationship to the house and really keeping good care for the house that's being sold. I'd hate to walk in after a sale and see damage to the home or the carpeting or things like that. What kind of care do you kind of employ in that regard?
We'll put down, in many cases, if there's fine carpeting and wood flooring, we'll put down, let's call it cellophane. It's adhesive on the bottom side to stick to the carpet, and it protects the flooring for the client. We'll use booties, just like you realtors. We'll either ask them to take their shoes off or wear booties. Everyone is classically trained in how to do this, so the idea is not to have damage. Yeah. I've had maybe 3 damages to property, 4 tops in 12 years of doing this. We incorporated 14, so those are pretty good numbers.
Okay.
I like that. And the damages were a little hole in the drywall. We were able to repair easily, things like that. So sometimes things do happen. If we do it, we take care of it. Okay. If not, it's the family member that does it or a guest of the family member. We have to know who caused the damage.
Sure.
If they just say, who did this? One of you guys did, we don't know who did it, but we report everything that we see.
Sure. And I know you have teams of people at the sales. Is there anything else you do as far as protecting or being, helping to be secure with the property on the prop?
Well, if you shop at Costco or Sam's Club, they have door people, and they check receipts. We want to make sure that the customer paid for their item. So we have a POS system where we can use it, where we have Wi-Fi, and where not, we use a 2-page cardboard copy receipt book. The customer receives the yellow copy. They have to show it to the door person upon leaving to show that they paid for the item.
And I'm gasping because I was just at an estate sale like a week ago, and I saw them just writing down numbers. Like I paid $25 for a silver serving tray. And I think they wrote that by hand on a sheet of paper and sent me out the door. No receipt, no itemization for the client. So
I've seen that. This is very important. My contract has a line in there that says the client shall turn over all items to Old Town Estate Sales. Like, in other words, I own the items after the sale. In my contract, that is only there for commercial accounts. So in other words, if Mr. Smith with Home State Bank is in charge of the REO division, he doesn't care about these items. He cares about the house. He's going to check that box. For all of my clients, a line goes through that. All of my retail clients, homeowners, a line goes through that. These are their items, their possessions. They're either to be sold or kept by their family and friends. That's it. Also, on that note, I don't know if I have it with me, but I have an employee manual, and I think it's very important.
Very prepared.
I didn't even.
Is this a job interview?
I didn't even expect to. Oh, look at this! I didn't even expect to pull this out. Okay, but this is.
You just pulled out my business card.
This is very important, Tim. We're just like any other company on a micro level. I'm horrible on a micro level. We are insured. We are bonded for the client's protection. We have workman's comp, unemployment insurance. We're registered with the state. I've been trained by the ISA and the ASCL. These are all things that a client should expect in a professional organization. My staff cannot buy. They have to sign this employee manual. They cannot purchase from our clients.
Okay.
Who's to say I'm not going to price this at $2 so that you can buy it, right, as my staff member?
Right.
So we're not allowed to buy from our clients. They have to come to work on time like any other company. No sexual harassment, no tardiness, anything that a company would have. The EOC guidelines are in this employee manual, and that's very important.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I tell the clients, did the company you check with show you? Do they have an employee manual? Are they insured and bonded? These are 7 key questions or so. Are you insured and bonded? Workman's comp, unemployment insurance. Do you have a good website, good contract, good reviews? Are you full service? Do you have one of these?
Yeah.
And you're off to the races.
Wow, I might need those questions because I feel like that we should be sharing this. We're sharing names of, or if our clients are doing or insisting that they use another company, great. I respect that decision 100%. Just want to give you these guidelines to ask your company or your best friends, neighbors, uncles.
Everything gets accounted for. When we do an estate sale, I've talked to clients doing interviews where they're trying to vet me, and they'll say, "Well, they don't document anything under $5." Every penny should be documented.
Wow.
Every penny should be documented. What you experienced, we'll talk after. I don't know who this company was, but everything that's sold should be documented. The till has to zero out. It has to balance.
Well, that's very refreshing, and I think that from the standpoint, if you've never had or been to an estate sale, and the idea of having one at your home and selling things pennies on the dollars, I mean, it's all comes across as hard and like a big, difficult decision. But I think that this is really helpful, and that I 100% will be referring to this for other folks that are just
It's
in
important.
that learning process, understanding what it is, and being able to have a resource to answer all those questions.
Just go with your gut. When you're the client and you're looking for a provider, how are they dressed? What type of marketing material do they have? Okay? Are they full service? Here's a state sales checklist. There's a contract. We have an extreme clean guide to help you there. We have Acasa's, one of our premier consignment stores, information for the client. They can set themselves up as the customer, or we can do it for them. We have a clean out flyer showing before, stage for the sale, and after. These are the things that people should be looking for in a provider, and then they'll be off to the races.
So you mentioned too a minute ago about just kind of knowing what you have. And so I'm gathering that if I'm getting ready or thinking about having a sale, that I might say, oh, this is my restoration hardware sofa. It was custom made, 9-foot, Italian leather, or whatever it was that they sold me, but I've got a receipt somewhere. And having those things available for you might be helpful, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. Provenance, hallmarks, any documentation. If you have an abstract, is it Picasso? Is it another artist? How do we evaluate it? It's everything's documentation. When we're looking at furnishings, is it Wasserly? Is it Ames? We have to look on the furnishing itself, because a Wasserly chair, an Ames chair, could bring in $3,000.
Sure.
Okay, but you can go to, there was a store, if they're still in business, Dancia. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you could take a Dancia chair, put it next to a Wasserly chair, and one's $400 and one's $4,000. Mm-hmm. They look identical. This is where you need a professional.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
To be able to identify.
Well, this has been fun. I think we could do this all day. Who knew we could talk about estate sales and antiques and all the fun things about this business. So is there anything that I've left out or that I should have asked you?
I think you did great.
Wow.
The only thing I would say with respect to my company and the name, people get stuck on antique. It's Old Town Estate and Antique Sale. When I opened the company 12 years ago, I wanted all the keywords, right? But we handle estates with MCN, which is mid-century modern, contemporary. every genre. It doesn't matter what you have. We're trained in it. Don't worry about the title of the company. It's what we bring to the table. It is quite a long title.
It's a lot, but there's OTE in that little logo.
That's what we do. O-Town Estate Sales.
I love it. Well, Mitch, it has been a thrill, and
Absolutely.
Always is great to get one of your video messages checking on me.
I can't. It doesn't recognize my accent. My phone. I could say, "Hi, Kim. How are you?" and it'll say, "Kim, bring home milk."
So that's why I get the video. I love it. So there's no misinterpretation. They're always high energy, upbeat, and you're a thrill to work with.
Thank you. You as well.
And with that, I'm Kim Keefe.
And I'm Mitch Schmer.
And we love where we live.